If you disappeared from your dog's life for years, and then one day simply walked back through the door, would it still know you? It is a question that quietly frightens a lot of people. We are told that dogs live in the moment, that they forget quickly, that out of sight really does mean out of mind. So somewhere in the back of your head sits a small, cold fear that if enough time passed, you would become a stranger to the animal that once loved you most. That you would walk in and it would lift its head and look at you with nothing in its eyes at all. But the truth about a dog's memory is far stranger and far more comforting than that fear. Because the way your dog holds on to you is not the way you imagine it is. It is not really remembering you at all. It is something deeper and older and much harder to erase. And once you understand how it actually works, you may realize that the thing you were most afraid of, your dog forgetting you, might not even be possible in the first place. Let's take the fear seriously and start with the basic question underneath it. Do dogs even have long-term memory? And here the answer is a clear yes. Dogs remember people, places, and routines for years. They remember which humans were kind and which were not. They remember a home they lived in long ago, a person who once cared for them, the specific rules of a life they have not lived in a very long time. There are countless stories of dogs who were separated from someone for years, through moves, through deployments, through all the accidents of life, and who, on being reunited, clearly and unmistakably knew exactly who had just walked in. So the memory is real, and it is durable, and you are stored inside it. But here is where it gets interesting, and where almost everyone misunderstands what is really happening. Because the way your dog remembers you, and the way you remember your dog, are two completely different machines. And that difference is the whole secret to why time cannot do to your dog's love what you are afraid it can. Think about how you hold on to your dog. You can close your eyes right now and picture its face. You can replay specific moments, the day you brought it home, a particular walk, the way it looks at you. You can actively miss it, summon it up in your mind whenever you want. Turn the relationship over in your memory, like a photo album you can open anytime. That kind of remembering, the sitting and reminiscing, the replaying of your own past, is something your dog almost certainly cannot do. At least not the way you do, and not in a way we have ever been able to prove. It probably does not lie there across the years, picturing your face, actively missing the memory of you. And that sounds, at first, like the sad part. But it is not, because it misses the point entirely. Because recognition is a completely different thing from remembering. Your dog does not need to think about you to know you. It does not need to hold a picture of you in its mind. The bond is not stored as a memory it has to visit. It is stored as something more like an imprint, stamped in, permanent, sitting quietly below the level of thought, needing nothing from time at all, simply waiting for the moment you come near. And the key that unlocks all of it, the thing that makes the recognition survive the years, is the one sense where your dog leaves you far, far behind. Smell. A dog's sense of smell is not just sharper than yours. It lives at the very center of how it knows the world, and it is wired directly into the parts of the brain that handle memory and emotion. Your scent, your specific, individual, unrepeatable smell, is filed away in your dog, not as a fact it recalls, but as a signature burned into the deepest part of its mind. And a scent like that does not fade the way a picture fades. Years can pass. Your face can age and change. Your voice can drop and roughen. You can come back heavier, or thinner, or grayer, unrecognizable in a photograph. And none of it matters, because the moment you are close enough for your dog to catch your smell, the key slides into the lock, and the recognition fires, total and instant and certain. It is not remembering you. It is smelling that it is unmistakably, chemically, you, the way it always has, no matter how long you have been gone. And scent is not even working alone. Your dog layers other signals on top of it. Studies have shown that dogs recognize their owner's voice, picking it out from a stranger's, reacting differently the instant they hear it. They learn to read your face and can pick your face out from others. So when you finally come back, the recognition does not hang on a single thread. It arrives on several at once: your smell, your voice, the particular way you move and sound, all of it converging in the same instant into a single certainty. But scent is the anchor, the one that runs deepest and lasts longest, the one that still works even when the years have changed everything a pair of eyes could check. And if that mechanism sounds strange, it should feel familiar too, because you have your own version of it. Think about the last time a smell caught you off guard. A particular perfume, the inside of an old house, a certain soap or a meal cooking, or the air after rain. And how it did not just remind you of the past, it dropped you straight into it, whole, in an instant. A moment from decades ago, rushing back more vividly than any photograph ever could. Sometimes a person long gone, standing right there in your mind. Smell is the most powerful memory trigger you have too, the one that reaches furthest back and hits the hardest. That is exactly how your dog carries you. Not as a photo album it flips through and can slowly lose, but as a scent that unlocks the entire bond, all of it, in a single breath. You are not a memory your dog keeps and might misplace. You are a key that still turns, which is why the reunions look the way they do. You have almost certainly seen the videos. Someone comes home after a year, after 2 years, after a deployment, and the dog goes from calm to completely, joyfully undone in a single second, screaming and spinning and unable to contain its own body. That switch flipping, that instant explosion, is the imprint reigniting all at once. And humans have known this about dogs for a very, very long time. 3,000 years ago, in Homer's Odyssey, the hero finally returns home after 20 years away, so changed and disguised that not even his own family recognizes him. And the only one who knows him instantly is his old dog, lying forgotten and neglected in the dirt, who lifts his head, recognizes his master across all those years, and then, his long wait finally over, dies. It is a legend, of course. But legends carry what people know to be true in their bones. And what that ancient story knew is exactly what the science now suggests. That the recognition in a dog survives almost everything. Even 20 years. Even the end. And when you really understand that, the fear you started with quietly turns into something else. Because your dog's love for you is not being kept alive by active memory the way yours is, which means time cannot wear it down the way time wears down a memory. The imprint does not fade with the years, because it was never something being held in mind to begin with. So you could be gone far longer than you are afraid of, and the recognition and the joy would still arrive as total and as instant as if you had never left at all. It will not love you less for the years. It will not hold the absence against you. And there is a strange, lopsided tenderness buried in this. Because while you spent those years actively missing it, carrying its face around in your mind, the dog most likely was not missing you in that same aching, narrative way. It lives closer to the present than that, which means you carried the relationship across the distance in a way it could not, and it kept you in a way that you cannot, as an imprint that never had to be maintained, and so could never, ever fade. You might be wondering whether there is a limit to this, some point where even the imprint finally wears away. And the honest answer is that we do not know exactly where that line is, or whether, for a bond that was deep enough, there is a line at all. What we do know is that it lasts far longer than the old out of sight, out of mind story ever allowed. Long enough to bridge deployments and moves and whole years of a life. Long enough that the safest thing to say is not that your dog will remember you for a while, but that, for as long as its mind is working at all, the U-shaped signature is very likely still in there, intact, waiting to be recognized. So, would your dog still know you after years apart? Yes. Not by remembering you, but by recognizing you instantly, completely. through the one sense that simply does not let go. The years will not have dimmed it, because it was never being held by memory in the first place. It was stamped in, permanent, below the reach of time. And so the fear you began with, that you might come back a stranger, turns out to rest on a misunderstanding of what you ever were to your dog. You were never a memory it was keeping, one that could blur and fade and finally slip away. You were never something it had to work to remember. You were something it simply could not lose. You might spend the entire time away quietly afraid that you had become a stranger to it. And then the door opens. And in a single second, all those years collapse into nothing at all. And it knows you, completely, the way it always did. The way, it turns out, it never once stopped. So, if you are ever apart from a dog that loves you, for a long time, longer than feels bearable, do not spend that whole stretch grieving a bond you think the distance is quietly erasing. It is not being erased. It is not even fading. It is sitting exactly where you left it, stored below thought, needing nothing, waiting. And on the day you finally come near again, close enough for one breath of the air around you to reach it, you will not have to reintroduce yourself. You will not have to earn your way back in. It will already know. It always did.